he's had his own little honeypot issue that's been going on of late, so we're just going to acknowledge it real publicly. He's got a girlfriend that's half his age, who apparently is both a country music singer, a political commentator on Rumble, a friend now of John Rich through Bongino, who also owns a big chunk of Rumble, and she's also a former Mossad agent in what is like the equivalent of their NSA.
So a lot of people are suspicious of Kash Patel's girlfriend, and I found this video on Twitter today, which I think is from TikTok. But anyway, let me show you this.
Wouldn't it be crazy if Kash Patel's girlfriend was a Israeli intelligence officer? Yes, meet Alexis Wilkins. She is the CEO of an organization called PragerU. No, it's not a university. It's just like a lobbying group that promotes American values. Yeah, fuck it right. But here, let's do the background here. She was born in Los Angeles, but moved to Israel at a very young age. Miss Marissa did. Yes, her original name was Marissa Straight. But yeah, and she did her primary education in Israel and then served in military intelligence, Unit 820 of the IDF. Okay, for those of you unaware, Unit 8200 is the most advanced global cyber team probably in the world. So, no big deal. Yeah, so I'm sure she really does love Kash for who he is, and she's definitely not his handler. And how dare you even suggest such a thing?
So now there's some inaccuracies in that video. So that's why, so it's very compelling when you see it. Like, I was like, holy cow, I didn't know any of this. And then I looked more into it. And so I just want to, there are, certainly she has ties to Israel and the IDF, but here's what's not true. Erin Elizabeth, our Health Nut News, she asked Grok, she says, Grok, is this true that she has this job at PragerU or her background? So it's not. So Grok says,
"Oh, you have jokes?"
Grok, oh, do I?
Yeah.
No. Oh. Oh. Yeah, I got the Rick ones. Yeah. I mean, what could be more natural than a top beauty queen being attracted to a guy that looked like if he has an oh shit expression on his face 24 hours a day? She doesn't want him for his money or power. She loves him because of that abandoned puppy dog look that she just wants to nurture. Because the one thing we know about Israeli intelligence, they're in the nurturing game. So Grok says Alexis Wilkins, who is his girlfriend, Kash Patel's girlfriend, is a contributor to PragerU. She's not the CEO. The CEO is Marissa Straight. That's a different person. Wilkins was born in the U.S., spent her early years in England and Switzerland, and was raised in Arkansas. Claims of her Israeli upbringing or IDF service appear unfounded, likely confusing her with Marissa Straight.
Wait, I thought her real name is Straight, that video said. So it's not really Straight?
So
because the video said that. Her real name
so that's another incorrect in that video. So her real name is Alexis Wilkins. The lady who is the head of PragerU is Marissa Straight, and she has ties. Well, you're going to find out here. You want to hear it? So here's the real deal. This goes. So friend of the show, James Lee, who did a great job guest hosting for us. He's got the straight dope. So here's the real dope. Here we go.
The FBI director's girlfriend just sued an ex-agent for calling her a spy.
Yeah, so did you know that? So Kash Patel's girlfriend is suing an ex-FBI agent for saying she's a spy.
But if you look at the facts, maybe it's not so crazy. I reported on this back in July, and the post went mega viral.
Is the director of the FBI caught up in an Israeli honeypot operation? All right, here's the context. Quote, some social media users have wondered whether the FBI and the U.S. Justice Department's refusal to release the list of Jeffrey Epstein's clients could have something to do with Alexis Wilkins, the 26-year-old girlfriend of 45-year-old FBI director Kash Patel. This is what people online are pointing to, the fact that Patel's girlfriend, Alexis Wilkins, works for PragerU, which is a media company that supposedly espouses American values, except for the fact that it is run by a former Israeli military intelligence officer. Now, I did a bunch of digging.
So, again, that's this Marissa Straight. She's the ex-Israeli military intelligence officer who runs PragerU, not Kash Patel's girlfriend. But Kash Patel's girlfriend works there. Okay.
Unfortunately, there's actually not a lot of public information to go off of in terms of Alexis Wilkins' background. Now, what I was able to find is that her father worked for Gillette and that her mother was in aerospace and pharmaceuticals. It also says that they lived in England and Switzerland before settling in Fayetteville, Arkansas when she was 9. It also says that she attended College du Le Monde International School in Switzerland. Now, interestingly, ChatGPT is calling this a strange biographical gap in that she has no visible friend network or public high school, college cohort interviews, which they say is unusual for a public figure in entertainment, and that if a Mossad asset were inserted early in life, these gaps would be precisely where you'd hide alternate history or handler training.
So, okay, I just want to make sure you all heard that there's gaps in her history. And according to ChatGPT, if you were a Mossad agent, that this is where those gaps would appear in your history. Okay, just so you hear that. Okay.
Simon Goddick says that Alexis Wilkins is nearly 20 years younger than Kash and also works for an NGO that's basically Israeli intelligence. That's PragerU that he's referring to. And he says, seriously, why would an attractive young woman date a not so attractive Indian American? Classic honeypot. I mean, I don't know. Who are we to really judge what people are attracted to and not attracted to? Anyway, I'm not sure what's true or what's not true, but evidently these are, quote, classic elements used in honeypot operations: soft power, ideological alignment, and sexual emotional entanglement. Let me know what you think.
1.9 million views on Instagram and hundreds of thousands on TikTok before my account was suddenly banned. Anyway, so many people were talking about this story that Megyn Kelly actually sat down with Alexis Wilkins, Kash Patel's girlfriend, for an interview in which she was asked point blank, "Are you a spy?" To which she said, "No."
For the record, I should ask you, are you a spy for any government?
Definitely not. That is a firm no.
I'll just say 2 things. 3 too many flags in the background and maybe 1 or 2 too many comments. Also, this comment: why is this woman on your channel to tell people she's not Mossad? Which definitely means that she is probably Mossad. Classic Streisand effect, right? It turns out going on a show to say that you are not a spy only makes more people think you might be a spy. And now Wilkins is suing Kyle Seraphin, a former FBI agent and whistleblower turned conservative influencer and podcaster, for defamation. The lawsuit alleges that defendant Kyle Seraphin has maliciously lied about Alexis Wilkins, falsely asserting that she, an American-born country singer, is an agent of a foreign government assigned to manipulate and compromise the director of the FBI. The defendant, a former FBI special agent himself, who now makes a living as a podcaster and political commentator, profiting off of controversy and outrage, is using this fabricated story as self-enriching clickbait and has spread it to his sizable audience that follows his daily broadcasts on X, Rumble, and YouTube. Accordingly, Ms. Wilkins seeks to hold the defendant accountable for his malicious and knowing lies. Okay, let's take a look at the clip in question.
He's had his own little honeypot issue that's been going on of late, so we're just going to acknowledge it real publicly. He's got a girlfriend that's half his age, who apparently is both a country music singer, a political commentator on Rumble, a friend now of John Rich through Bongino, who also owns a big chunk of Rumble, and she's also a former Mossad agent in what is like the equivalent of their NSA.
Okay, for the record, there is no direct evidence that Wilkins was a former Israeli intelligence officer. I made that pretty clear in my original video, but here's what she's claiming as fact in the lawsuit. Quote, Miss Wilkins is an American born in the United States. She is a patriotic, conservative Christian country music artist and published writer who also works for conservative advocacy and educational company PragerU. She's in a long-term relationship with Kash Patel, which began in January of 2023. Okay, so here is where I think it's legit to question what's going on, because her old boss at PragerU was actually a former Israeli intelligence officer serving in Unit 8200, which is like their version of the NSA. And you can also definitely make an argument that PragerU is some kind of Zionist propaganda outlet that masquerades around as an American media company. Wilkins then goes on to claim in her lawsuit that, quote, the defamatory statements have directly and proximately caused Miss Wilkins to suffer significant damages, including damage to her reputation, humiliation, and embarrassment, and the nature of which is ongoing and long-lasting. These damages were foreseeable and intended by the defendant. No, this is where I'm like, you're dating the director of the FBI, which I presume comes with many benefits, so you got to be able to take a little incoming heat, especially when your boyfriend is doing a horrible job. Because look, I don't know if she's an Israeli spy, but spy or not, here's the fact. Our FBI director acts like he reports to Tel Aviv and not Washington. That's the real scandal. From covering up the Epstein files, for which there are many and numerous ties to Israel, to saying that he definitely killed himself by releasing an obviously doctored tape, to now most recently letting a pedo escape back to Israel. I mean, just look at this tweet. No one is above the law. FBI agents on a mission. And then immediately, community noted, Israeli government official Tom Alexandrovich was arrested and charged in a joint FBI local police raid for luring or attempting to lure a child to engage in sexual conduct. He was granted bail and allowed to flee to Israel, avoiding charges. Like, what the hell is going on here, right? I don't know if, people don't know this, but conspiracy theories exist because of an obvious information vacuum or information manipulation. We don't know what's going on for sure, but we know that what they're telling us isn't true. So my message is, if you don't want to be called a honeypot or a spy, then tell your boyfriend to do his job and stop lying to the American people. That would be my genuine advice. That's all I have for this week. What do you think about Alexis Wilkins?
Okay, so that's great job by James Lee. So what I would think would be even crazier than Patel's girlfriend was a honeypot. I'll do one better. Wouldn't it be crazier if Kash was gay and she's actually a fruit fly pot?
IMO, I think it is.
So, is it a honeypot? Is her connections good enough for you? I don't know.
You know where Kash lives? In Vegas. He's been registered there since 2022. His only place for evidence has been with a mega donor named Muldoon, who's a timeshare king. He lobbied so he doesn't have to go to the office and he can stay in Vegas all the time. That girl don't live there with him. So he just lives with some old mega donor.
Yeah.
And this supposed honeypot lives all the way far away from him.
No
Isn't that
kidding.
strange?
No
Yeah.
kidding?
Dude, I first saw it a while back on Redacted, but it's in Mint Press. I was just looking up now. I'm like, I didn't make this up. His register, all these, and all the Democrat kind of leaning outlets are harping on it because it is very strange.
That he lives in Vegas and his girlfriend doesn't? Where does she live?
I have no idea. Virginia? I don't know. But it's not believable that she likes him? Yeah, no, not to me either. But you know who does like him? This old man that lets him live there in Vegas with him. The only place of residence he has on record. So you live with some old dude. And I was told, and I didn't want to believe it. Somebody told me that who was close to, and they go, well, from what I understand, because I'm like, why is he going back on everything he said? And they go, well, supposedly because he's gay and he doesn't want his mom to know. And I was like, that cannot be it. That cannot be that lame that he would actually cover up the crimes like this just to hide that he's gay. And so I didn't believe it, Jimmy. But then I hear this thing and I'm like, is Kash that lame? I hope not. I hope that there's nothing there and it's not that lame because that's really lame.
That would be lame if true. If true, I cannot.
If true, it would be lame as shit.
If true, I cannot verify the veracity of that statement. But
I know if my hot non-secret agent girlfriend lived in Virginia, I would live with an old man in Vegas. I know that. So I'm the head of the FBI, and I could live where I want, probably.
You don't think he's got a place in D.C. that he stays now because he's the FBI director?
Well, maybe he has to have a place in Vegas and he likes living there. The thing is, there's nothing registered in his name. He's only lived with this guy, this mega donor who's from some scumbag timeshare billionaire. And that's it. That's who you live with. There's no record you get an apartment or a house or nothing.
Really?
And you talk about moving to Vegas?
And that Mint Press reported that?
I'll send it to you. You want it?
Yeah, read it to me.
Okay, here. Kash Patel. Now, they're not saying a gay thing. They're saying Kash Patel spotted at nightclub, spends more time in Las Vegas than it works, claims an FBI officer. Kash Patel, blah, blah, blah. He goes, he's been spotted spending his time elsewhere. Reportedly, he's been visible at nightclubs far more than he's been on the 7th floor of the Hoover building.
Jeez.
Nightclubs and lives with an old man. Okay, yeah, no, he's not gay. Well, come on. Don't be crazy. And then there are reports that daily briefings to him have been changed from every day to maybe twice weekly. Speaking further, let's see. Is Frank, where's where Kash's quote? Kash himself has said, I moved to Vegas in 2022. Oh, maybe it's in this one. This is the Nevada Independent. This is before he was confirmed. Trump FBI pick, Kash Patel's Vegas home belongs to timeshare tycoon accused of shady practices. Now, they're not saying the guy lives there with him. Yeah, and he goes, yeah, I moved here a while ago. And there's that speech he gives about, like, if I can finally fly in private jets.
Wow.
Yeah, that's like I said, I don't even think, just my opinion, I don't think she is a beard. She's certainly just a young, hot country singer working at PragerU. Country singers are, by the way, if you look into CIA scumbag ops, they use country singers a lot, okay? Every kind of intel group does, especially in Tennessee near Nashville, because there's army bases there. And on North Carolina by, where's the, I can't remember what they changed the name of the camp to, but the PSYOP brigade that's out of there, Fort Bragg. That is lousy with agents from all kinds of countries because Fort Bragg is a very important base.
Come see me on tour in Hermosa Beach, Sacramento, San Francisco, Irvine, California, Australia, and Burbank, California. Go to jimmydore.com for a link for tickets.